Hello everyone, I am Tacit, and today I'm going to be going over the new Gems of War Mythic of the Faerie Gobmother. Of course, this one is from Season 8, from Campaign 8 of Gems of War. It is somewhat money locked at the moment, as is from the campaign. However, it will be available for free to play as well. Basically has 3 release dates. One of them was this Monday, and of course we went over it a bit on stream, but this video will be a bit more concise with all the teams in the description below if you want to go use any of them. The second release date is pretty much almost tomorrow on Monday reset time. You'll be able to get it if you bought the normal standard pass. And aside from that, free to play will have 2 different dates that could potentially be the first time that you end up getting it. The first one is when it rotates around in Soulforge, which is likely like midway through the summer, late this summer. And the other one is whenever we have a Zhejian event. So the next Zhejian event that ends up occurring after this season is done. So not next week, but once the season is fully completed, weeks from now. Which could be months, it could be several weeks, we don't really know exactly, but realistically expected by like mid to late summer if you're playing 100% free to play. As far as what it does, it is the best thing for creating wish gems, which is both a blessing and a curse. Wish gems, as far as what they do, if you don't already know, of course we've had them all season, but their main gimmick is whenever they are destroyed, they cannot be matched, but when they are destroyed in any way, shape, or form, either through destroy, explode, or similar methods, they will end up giving either one of 5 different things. They will either give 1, 2, 3, or 4 of your allies full mana, which are all really strong. However, there is one caveat to that. The 5th thing that it does is it will give all your allies full mana, which is nice, but also all your enemies full mana, which makes it very weird when you create a lot of them. And that is an issue that Faerie Gobmother has, and probably the biggest thing holding her back. So she has a 50% chance to convert a yellow gem to a wish gem when her turn begins. So this is going to give you a pretty nice amount of wish gems overall. However, her ability also does this. She has a 1 in 3 chance to also create 2 to 3 wish gems, which means theoretically in one single turn, assuming just one cast out of her, she will end up getting potentially 4 wish gems onto the board. Assuming they're weighted evenly, which I'm not 100% sure if they are, but it sure seems like they are. If you do 4 20%, you're probably going to be giving the enemy, or at least a pretty decent chance, to give the enemy a full mana. While you also get full mana. So the big issue with her is she'll basically just randomly give the enemy full mana, which makes her really bad in PvP-like situations. She's probably never going to get used in Guild Wars, probably never really used in even just casual PvP or anything like that. Her main gimmick is likely going to be for Explore, for Tower of Doom, for factions, stuff like that. Areas where if you give the enemy full mana, you won't auto lose, like in many PvP battles. So that's going to be her main gimmick. As far as her ability itself, the full thing, she auto extra turns, which is nice, as pretty much every goblin does, and by pretty much I mean literally every goblin in the current state of the game, as they have changed all the ones that don't, but they all give extra turn. She gains an extra turn and then either does one of the 3 following. She creates 2 to 3 wish gems, which is one we already discussed. Deals a bunch of damage to all enemies, which is an okay amount of damage. Or will end up boosting the life to all other allies. Both of those are boosted by wish gems, so for every wish gem on the board, she will be doing 5 more damage to all enemies, as well as 5 more heal to all other allies. Keep in mind that is all other, so she doesn't actually heal herself. Which is a bit of a liability as it makes her a little bit squishier, though she does have some spell armor to kind of make up for that with some 25% spell reduction. So even though she's not giving durability to herself, she at least has a little bit of survivability there, if nothing else. But overall, it's a very situational mana accumulating mythic. I'm generally not too huge a fan of most of the mana accumulating mythics, so this has some really niche purposes that might find its way into some teams. Speaking of which, let's go and mess around with it in some teams. So this is one of the few times where I'm actually not going to be going to PvP. The main reason for this is, as I already mentioned, it'll backfire very heavily. So we're mostly just going to be messing with this on factions and Explore 12. With this very first team, I think we'll actually start with Explore 12, and then we'll head over to factions. So for this very first team, we'll go with, oddly enough, something that could be ran for Tower of Doom. If I'm not mistaken, we have a green, or was it red? I actually can't remember off the top of my head now. But we have a pure color Tower of Doom coming up. Obviously, you know, they come in every 11 weeks. But since the season is almost over, we do have one right around the corner. And this team can actually be used for, oddly enough. So as you can see there, we already got a wish gem. I actually don't want to create more wish gems right now. I just want to go and get our mana up just to not have the liability of accidentally giving them full mana there. And now we basically just keep casting until we win. So we do this, we get our Wish Gem popped. That can end up happening almost every single turn just to guarantee full mana back. We have our Scourge poke over here, which will end up doing a bunch of true damage and get some of his mana back. And we basically just keep cycling damage until we end up winning. And that is the main plan here. And just need one more. We're actually going to throw this just in case we can get Wish Gem. We just got a useless HP buff there. Ideally, we would at least want to have an AoE damage so we could pressure damage to help speed us up there. But it happens. And as you can see, we're primarily using a Merilith as our damage source here, which ends up working out. Or not damage source, I mean a mana accumulating source. Has that little fire link, ends up getting a bunch of mana accumulation off of that. If you're using this in a faction or Tower of Doom context, you have even higher magic than you normally would, which is one of the other reasons for Merilith, because you'll have a 64 destroy pretty much guaranteed in that situation. Overall, pretty fun, and as you can see, one really weird thing about this team, which as I was building it, I don't know, I really like that. It's not that strong to end up building Pure Color, because the bonus for Tower of Doom, I mean, the bonus for Pure Kingdom is just way, way stronger than Pure Color, even double Pure Color. But the fact that this is Pure Green and Pure Red is just wonderful. That wasn't even the intention initially, but that's the way it came. Anyways, next up. So this one is a cheaper team, if you need something towards the cheaper side. It does use 2 legends, well obviously the Mythic as well, but the Mythic is, all these teams are based around the Mythic, so obviously the Mythic is implied. Mountain Crusher, super easy weapon you just get from leveling up your hero. The 2 things that are in here are legends, however they are both faction legends. If you don't have King Gobtruffle, you throw Chaos Shards at the Amethyrax faction, and if you don't have Queen Zachi, you do the same thing for Stonesong Eyrie on the portal there. So these are pretty easy to get. Most faction legends I would almost consider to be epics, almost even ultra rares. Because sometimes if you're really targeting down a single epic, like when we were trying to get the new ones that came in version 6.2 several days ago, if you're trying to get them through through keys, they can be harder to get sometimes, like compared to other things. Like we were literally getting more mythics than the epics at one point, which was pretty funny. But yeah, you can easily target them off of factions and not have to deal with all that mess. Anyways, let's go with this again, and then we'll do the other one in an actual faction to kind of show what it can do. Anyways, because factions, realistically, the most likely location you would do this, you can end up doing in PvP, I mean, in Guild War, I mean, I will eventually say the right thing. You can end up doing it in Explore 12, however, I haven't actually tested to see what kind of rates it could do overall. I feel like it's slightly slower, though it definitely feels fun, if nothing else. Good change of pace if you wanted, like, some kind of AoE team. Because I generally don't run AoE teams, or, you know, anything that can hit all enemies simultaneously for Explore. I personally don't feel like I do it much. Also, one thing to note with this team, our main Exploder, well, technically Mountain Crusher as well, but our main Exploder actually wants to be Zachi in many of these situations. So we're going to do this, hope we get Wish Gems, and then do Zachi, and Zachi's going to pop everything, and then we just kind of go from there. So do make sure if you have the mana on Zachi to go for the Zachi, as it will be doing that mechanic. Unfortunately, we do have that one Submerge when it takes damage here. Oh no! Oh, that's going to actually be a little bit annoying for this team, because we don't have a proper way to deal with that, like, at all. Oh, you know what? I should have let him take in that skull there. But then again, he would just regain Submerge. This is a very, very weird situation. I guess our main goal at this point is just to get a skull, and there we go. Okay, that wasn't too bad. But yeah, that was one of the weird Submerge kingdoms. I almost forgot that thing exists. But yeah, you do have to be careful with that when you're running things that can hit all enemies simultaneously. One way that you can kind of get around that is to use a hero that has Dispel. So you could replace out Titan for, oh gosh, what's his name? The class of Rune Priest, right? Yeah, I always forget that one because it's weird. Yeah, Rune Priest, there it is. But that's the one that has Barrier on Brown while also having Dispel. You do have to sacrifice half mana to start, unfortunately. But if you find it to be too big of an issue, you can go with a Dispel Barrier hero class instead of a more mana-oriented hero class that still has Barrier on Brown. So you can end up going down that route if you find it's being too big of an issue, or if the current location you have has a bunch of Submerge, or you can just go to some location that doesn't have any Submerge. I kind of forgot that was there. Anyways, lastly, let's go do a faction one. So, I believe this one needs to be City of Thieves, if I'm not mistaken, based on their coloration. Obviously, you could just do whatever one based on coloration. Oh, I already have a chest here. I guess I'll grab that. You can actually delay chests to automatically get them for when you have an objective. Like when it tells you to go do like 3 level 120 explorers or something. You can actually already have the chest preemptively done, then claim them, and it counts. One little tidbit there if you ever want to like do this preemptively. Like for example, if you wanted to 100% make sure like instantly on Monday you had all the factions done, you could just prep 3 kingdoms at a really high high level, like 150 plus, because I don't think they ever ask for anything higher than that. And then you're good to go. You just claim the 3 chests on that Monday, or, you know, when it comes up to the point where you have to do the objective, and then boom, it's already done, because it checks how many, it checks if it's been completed at the point of when you claim the chest, so you can just have 3 chests ready to go. Anyways, I want to go replace this out for the team. This is not quite the one I wanted to run, is it? No, that's the other one. Let me go grab it real quick. Hold up. I was actually messing with it earlier. Let's see. I did end up switching it out for Fiend Fire, though. So I was using it with that one Curse weapon earlier, but, or that one Doom weapon. But not only is it slightly cheaper this way, but it actually functions a little bit better. So not much of a difference there. It's mostly just a weapon switch out. But there we go. Hiking Iron Gut Thrall, Faerie Gobmother, and Fiend Fire. So the main reason for Fiend Fire, it's actually an interesting weapon that is situationally good. Even though you probably don't see me using it too often, though it does come in play on factions on occasion, and potentially even Tower of Doom. But probably less so on Tower of Doom, though. But it deals damage to all enemies, mostly because the Doom has immune to Curse. But it deals damage to all enemies boosted by Daemon allies, which that part of the ability is not too relevant other than the fact that it just pressures a little bit of damage. But it gets to curse and burn all enemies, the most noteworthy thing being the curse there, though you can end up doing that for triple damage hero as well. But that curse is pretty potent because we end up getting Iron Gut spam. So that's pretty much the whole premise here. We basically have an Iron Gut team where we just have a big mana accumulator doing its thing. Thrall, in this context, will easily be destroying the entire board every single time. As you can see, we get 1.5 billion mana there. Fiend Fire is just for the curse, so in a battle where we don't need the curse, like this one, we technically don't even need to cast it. However, we could if we wanted to. And of course, Hiking Iron Gut is in first slot, so we can pressure a bunch of skull damage. We're also using a Thief hero class, so anytime we extra turn, as you saw there, we'll get a Hunter's Mark, and that Hunter's Mark can easily end up killing out. And as you can see, we just get our mana back, boom, and we're good to go. And it's basically just an Iron Gut cycle. We didn't actually need to use Fiend Fire there, as this battle does not have any immune to Devour. However, if a battle did have any immune to Devour, if I could actually show one here, doesn't Coral have immune to Devour? Yeah, there's a couple things here, so I can actually show it on this team real quick. So of course, the main reason for Fiend Fire is there are quite a few things in Delves that have immune to Devour. For example, almost this entire team, he has it off his first trait, he has it off his Impervious, off his final trait, and this thing also has it off of Devour on his second trait. However, we can simply just go curse him and be good to go. And that's what the Fiend Fire is here for. So let's start getting this team rolling. Unfortunately, a little bit of a bad start here. Once Thrall gets going, we pretty much just oh no, he better not die. Oh no, that was close. Luckily, there's at least one thing here that we can devour. Otherwise, it'd be very unfortunate if we had to pass another turn. So right here, now we are left with everything on the opposing team that cannot be devoured. However, if we simply go and curse them, we don't have to worry about that anymore. So we're actually going to go for this. We now have our devour option again. We'll just get rid of something really annoying. How about a silence, just to make sure we don't get silenced there. As you can see, just make sure that they don't get recursed. I mean, make sure they don't drop their curse so that you can keep devouring them. And if they do, just reapply the curse and you'll be good to go. It looks like we probably won't end up needing to reapply that curse in this particular instance. But yeah, we're good to go. So he just went from like 1 shot from death to 1,000 all stats. That's funny. What a 180 right there. But yeah, he went as low as like what, 40 HP and then ended with 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. Iron gets funny. But yeah, he's a really strong faction troop. And with a curse synergy, you don't even need to worry about immune to devours like that battle right there. But anyways, guys, that's pretty much a rundown on this mythic. It's actually pretty good. I normally don't like mana accumulating mythics, and in a PvP context, I definitely would not advise it. We were messing with it on Monday, and gosh, is it annoying to run those things on PvP. But I don't know. I normally don't like mana accumulating mythics, so this is one of the few exceptions where its gimmick is fun enough that I don't mind using it. I'm not sure if I would use it as a primary team for delving and other things like that, but it's definitely a good alternative. And if you ever wanted to change in pace instead of using the same team over and over again, it definitely has some potential for building. So I'm curious to actually hear what you guys want to build for this. It's not something I normally ask, but this is definitely a pretty interesting mythic, and I'm curious to see what on earth you guys end up building if you've already messed with some teams, or if you get it on Monday, what kind of teams you're going to be end up doing with it. Anyways, guys, if you still have any other questions, feel free to leave in the comment section below. All teams mentioned in this video are in the description if you want to copy paste any of them, and I will catch you guys soon. Goodbye, everyone, and thank you so much for watching.